Have you ever been truly alone? I mean, the kind of alone where the silence gets so loud it starts to hum? That's where these stories live, in that hum. Don't watch this in the dark. The first one is called The Reflection. It wasn't my house. I was just checking on it for a friend. An old, secluded place full of that specific dust that only settles in empty homes. The only rule was never, under any circumstances, look into the large antique mirror in the main hallway after sunset. It was an odd request, but easy enough. The first night, everything was fine. The second night, a storm knocked the power out. I lit a candle, and my own moving shadow became a terrifying thing, a giant flickering monster on the wall. I passed the hallway mirror, and I didn't just see my reflection. I saw the reflection of the candle in my hand. But in the mirror, the candle was already extinguished, a thin wisp of smoke curling up. I was holding a dead flame. I stared, my brain refusing to process it. And then my reflection smiled. A wide, impossibly grim smile that my own face wasn't making. It lifted its hand, the hand holding the dead candle, and pressed a single finger to its lips. Shoo. The real candle in my hand flickered and died, plunging me into absolute darkness. I could hear my own heart pounding. And then another sound, the soft, shuffling sound of footsteps on the carpet, coming from the mirror, getting closer. I scrambled back, fumbling for my phone, turning on a flashlight. I swung the beam toward the mirror. It was just a mirror. Just me, pale and terrified. But the room behind my reflection was wrong. It wasn't the hallway I was standing in. It was darker, older, empty. And standing just behind my reflected self, barely visible in the gloom, was the shape of a man, watching. I ran. I didn't stop until I was in my car driving. I never went back. My friend sold a house a month later. The new owners called them once with a strange question. They asked if the previous owners had twins. Story 2. The Tangle. We were hiking in Scotland, the kind of place where the fog doesn't roll in. It just appears. One minute you see the path, the next you're in a world of gray. We got separated. I stumbled for what felt like hours, the cold seeping into my bones. Just as panic was truly setting in, I saw a light. A lone cottage on the far shore of a small, black loch. The only way across was a narrow causeway, ancient stones just breaching the water surface. I had to cross. The water was clear and impossibly deep. Halfway across, I saw her. A woman suspended deep below. Her skin was ghostly white, her dark hair floating around her like a halo. Her eyes were closed. She was beautiful and tragic, and she was tethered. Dozens of fine silken cords were tied to her wrists, her ankles, her throat, anchoring her to the bottom. She was a captured angel, a prisoner in the deep. I was mesmerized by her sorrow. A shout from the far bank broke my trance. My friend had found me. I turned to wave. When I looked back, she was gone. The strings were gone. The water was empty. The old man in the cottage gave me tea by the fire. His eyes were milky. I asked him, my voice shaking, about the woman in the water. He grew very still. He whispered, "The Tangle. She doesn't want company. She wants an anchor." I didn't understand. An anchor for what? He pointed a bony finger at my chest. "For you." That night, in the small guest room, I dreamt of the loch. I dreamt the silken threads were winding around my own wrists, gentle but unbreakable. I woke up gasping for air, my heart hammering. The room was dark. I tried to get up, but I couldn't. A profound, impossible weight held my ankles down. I could feel it. A gentle, persistent tugging, like a fishing line hooked into my very soul, pulling down. I tore the blankets off. Nothing was there, but the feeling remained. I left at first light and never returned. But sometimes, on utterly still nights, I feel it. That faint, distant pull. A reminder that something in the dark water still has a hold of me, because their little girl keeps talking about the two men who watch her from the mirror. One who looks scared, and one who just stands there, smiling the final story. The ticking. My brother Arthur was a clockmaker. He lived in a world of perfect, rhythmic sound. Then the package came. No return address. Inside was a beautiful silver pocket watch. It was cold. He couldn't make it work, but he became obsessed. He claimed he could hear it ticking, a soft, solitary tick that was out of sync with every other clock in his shop. He said it wasn't keeping time. It was counting down. For him, he stopped sleeping. He'd just sit there, holding the watch to his ear, his eyes wide with a fear I'd never seen. "It's too late," he told me, his voice a dry rasp. "It's counting down for me." They found him at his workbench. The official report said it was a sudden aneurysm, a natural cause. As I cleaned out his silent workshop, I found a yellowed newspaper the watch had been wrapped in. There, in faint, spidery handwriting, was a message. "Every mechanism needs a heart. This one just wore out." A chill went down my spine. I left the watch on his desk. I couldn't touch it. I got into my car, my hand shaking. I needed the silence, and that's when I heard it. Faint at first, then clear and precise, coming from my glove compartment. Tick, tick, tick. I flung it open. Empty. But the sound was now coming from the back seat. Tick, tick, tick. I turned, but there was nothing there. I drove home in a cold sweat. The ticking followed me. It's in my house now. Sometimes it's in the walls. Sometimes it's under the floor. Right now, it's in my pocket. And it's getting slower. Which story stuck with you? Comment below. Subscribe for more. And listen carefully tonight. You might not be as alone as you think.